self-serving, persuasive talkers
of everything and nothing.
We are Conversation Con Artists.
What's going on, people? It's your boy, Mr. On Point.
And I am Calamity Red because I couldn't think of anything else to be this week.
All right, well, you Calamity Red. And we are Conversation Con Artists, back for another fantastic episode. I want y'all to go to the Twitters and the Instagrammies and follow me at Mr._on_point.
And I can be found at Red_Calamity. Also, we are still doing the listener alert portion of the show. So if you have a question you would like for us to answer on the show, you can send it into our Gmail account, which is conversationconartists@gmail.com. Or you can find us on Facebook and shout it out to us that way, Conversation Con Artists. But before we begin with these letters, because we have a few, one of which is long as fuck. But we'll get to that. We are going to do the poetry for this week. I think I went first last week.
You did.
So therefore, it's your turn.
Yes, ma'am. This is a poem based off of a song that my mama used to sing. It's titled the same thing, If My Pillow Could Speak, but it was a Christian gospel-ish song, and I don't even know where she got it from. I know she got it from somewhere. She stole it from somebody. But she was singing, and I used to like when she sang it. Now, my mom used to play the keyboard at churches.
Oh.
You know, she's not a classically trained pianist or anything, but like she can play. Like if you need somebody to play for any kind of song, she can play it.
Oh, that's good.
And so a lot of the churches we went to, she led the praise team or just played the piano for the praise team, but she always sang. And she always used to have me and my brother singing too, as the Sharp Boys. Because that's my last name. But we would do rap scriptures, and it was horrible. It was a parent's perception of what rap sounded like, but with Jesus in it. It wasn't, it was horrible.
I wish I had recordings because I pay money to listen to them.
No, we don't need. The only place that stuff remains is in my brain.
Damn, that's unfortunate.
Securely locked up, and every now and then I try to see how much of it I can remember.
We can ever get some of this Black Mirror. You watch Black Mirror?
I've seen some episodes.
There was an episode where they could extract memories, so we could extract those memories, and have them and laugh.
Hell no. What if you get the wrong memory out?
Well,
what if you get the memory of me touching myself in a particular way?
That's very pedophilic at this point, and no, I would not be.
I'm not saying that you did it on purpose,
but I'm not.
But you are now you now have child porn at your disposal, and you're gonna go to jail.
I would not be the one that will pull the memories, so I would hope that they would check it before they gave it to me.
Have you ever seen Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind?
Yes.
So this is a movie, if you haven't seen it, about Jim Carrey, who they create this machine, and he'd be like, I hate my memories. I want them gone. But once they start getting pulled out, he start realizing, no, I want my memories, but it's too late now. They pulling them all out. So it's like he running through his brain trying to keep them from taking out all these memories. I don't want nobody playing around in my brain.
I mean, yeah.
Period.
Yeah. It's probably not the safest of things to do, but I want to see it. So
that being said, rap scriptures are safely locked away.
Damn.
I'm sorry.
It's unfortunate.
But I'm gonna do this poem that was the concept is taken from whoever my mama took that song from, but this poetry is called If My Pillow Could Speak. If my pillow could speak, it would tell tales of my tragedies and how many of my days are filled with emotional savagery. See, at my pillow, I can be indiscriminately honest without worry that my intimate image will be tarnished. So if my pillow could speak, it would tell you of my transgressions and nights that I cried out my woeful confessions. And my pillow lets me speak freely and never impedes, and indeed is there for me every night I'm in need. My pillow knows of my pains and the wounds that have followed, and how many pills I've tried so desperately to swallow. If my pillow could speak, it wouldn't mumble but speak vibrantly, for the pain that I've stained it with has impressed upon it violently. My pillow opens me, vows to listen to my stories, from meaningful metaphors down to ignorant allegories, from silly to serious in different categories. My pillow knows that all I have are stories. Then I speak to my pillow, I tell it of my history, and my pillow knows all that to you is a mystery. My pillow doesn't speak back to me, but it really doesn't need to. See, it absorbs my deepest fears and always finds a way for me to see through. You know, if my pillow could speak, it would tell you some things like my smile is great, but not always what it seems. It would tell you that I try to live through my hopes and my dreams, and some days I'm at the end of my rope, but it's more like a string. Sometimes what I think is a whisper is more like a scream, or sometimes my life feels more like a scheme. The truth about my pillow, though, is that it doesn't speak. None of these thoughts lay gently at the top of my sheets. If only I could be that free, when in reality my pillow is actually me.
Snap, snap, snap. Snap, snap.
There it is. My pillow. Which I need to wash. Well, not the pillow,
the cover. The pillow cover.
Pillowcase.
The case. That's correct. Well, I was going to do a love poem, but you didn't do a love poem, and I don't really want to be on that shit this week, so changed it at the last minute. So I'm not the most religious of people. I like to think of myself as more spiritual than religious.
What that mean?
Religion to me is this very strict, organized entity, and I'm not really with it. Like, I don't feel like I need a church. I don't need a pastor. I don't need any of those things for me to have peace within myself and figure out what the fuck it is that I need to do. I feel like religion is very contingent upon the people in power within it, and I ain't really with it. But so this is called Lady of the Night, which is exactly what it sounds like.
Okay. Freak hoe.
Freak hoe. And I made this because
we already know Rick James told us when they come out.
Freaks come out at night. So I wrote this because I think I was in college, 2011. I was no longer in college. I think I just was tired of people that I know their life, like outside of like Facebook, that were posting all these like really religious, like condescending things about how other people should live their life. And I'm like, bitch, I know where you was at last night. Why you telling these people how they should live? So that's what inspired this boy. I can't stand that shit. Like, live and let live. Like, do it. If you feeling a need to go tell other people about everything that's wrong in their life, usually what that tells me is that you got some shit in your life that you don't want to address. And so instead you choose to pick apart somebody else's life when your shit is probably fucked up behind the scenes. So that's where this came from. It's called Lady of the Night. She exudes magnificent style and grace. It's hard to believe she deceives. She's a fake, and her walk isn't so elegant. There's a slight limp in her gait, and yet she debates on what's proper and what's not. She has selective amnesia. See, she conveniently forgot her other personality. She's a lady of the night, but what you do in the dark will eventually come to light. And it's not right, but still she condescends, standing tall on her soapbox while telling others how they should live. But while the world slumbers, her house has a revolving door, and she no longer lives by those morals she's made herself so famous for. Alcohol and pills make for a great time, and all her noble speeches are farthest from her mind until those bells chime. But Cinderella, she's not. She's just a lady of the night whom the light of day has caught. And so she cleans up all the proof. Her mask is back in place, and she stands before the world, the epitome of style and grace. But she's a fake, and her walk isn't so elegant. There's a slight lip in her gait. But just wait. Karma has a way of coming round, and as she sets her sights on heaven, her shamed soul is unfortunately hellbound. She's a lady of the night, but self-righteous perfection during the day. But almost doesn't count. You're either in or you're out. No half-stepping along the way. Beware those that talk loudest, constantly speaking on what you should do. The ladies of the night, the ladies and men of the night shine brightest in daylight. But in the end, you must answer for only you.
Snappity snaps. Okay. Lady of the night.
Lady of the night.
That's a really, really eloquent way of talking about a freak. Very eloquent. That's good. I bet every loose lady would love to be referred to as a lady of the night, yes, and spoken of with such highly regard, like acknowledging the other parts of her. You know, yes, what I'm saying? Like,
the other parts of you are fake though. Like, they're what you do to hide the shit that you got going on at night. No.
How can you tell the difference between a lady in the streets and a freak, or a lady in the streets? Wait.
Lady in the streets and a freak in the sheets. I feel like, so, again, if you're somebody that minds your fucking business and you just live your life in a certain way because that's what you want to do, and
Like
you
it's golden. Living your life like it's golden.
living your life like it's golden, but you happen to do some freaky shit at night, that's different than you out here living your life like it's golden, telling other people how they need to live their life like it's golden, and you know, talking shit about them for doing the same shit you do in the dark. They just doing their shit in the light for the world to see. So you want to tell them what they should be doing, even though you're doing the exact shit. You just hide yours. They don't give a fuck enough to hide theirs. You just as bad. You're the same as they are. Even worse, actually, because again, you know what they are. She's a hoe. You know that.
I got you.
But like, I feel like these type of people are the people that you think you got a good one till you find out she a hoe. Like, oh, I didn't know you was out here doing all this whole shit.
Out here wilding out.
Out here wilding the fuck out. You had me thinking that you was gonna be my first lady. Yeah. So.
Okay.
To the letters.
We got letters.
Who we going?
We got letters from Colin, Rockman 3K3 from the Nerd Plate, and Leroy Ketchum from the Nerd Plate.
Leroy, I got a story I'm gonna dedicate to you later on in the show. So if you're listening, make sure you listen to the whole show, my nigga, because I got something for you.
What's up, Colin? Number one, Bill Cosby is not the hill to die on, my fellow Wakandans. Also, the police and the system came hard and fast, phrasing, for Subway Jared Fogle and Jerry Sandusky for sex crime, 2 white men.
Yes.
I repeat, if you want to argue justice, Bill Cosby is not the hill to die on. I fully agree.
Yes.
Bill Cosby, like,
No.
they always had this dialogue about they coming for black men. Where? R. Kelly, they ain't came for R. Kelly.
Nope.
R. Kelly has given a ton of signs and indicators that he should have been the one that has been come for. Yeah. Bill Cosby, you know, but even if they are coming for black men,
Bill Cosby got 1 foot in the grave. Like, at this point, saying they coming for him, so is death. It's like a race at this point to see who get him first. Because even now that he been found guilty, this nigga got 1 foot in the grave. Like, coming for him. Like, this isn't going to affect his life at all. He on house arrest. That nigga was going to be in the house anyway because he old. Coming for him? Like,
well,
okay.
Like I said last week, even if they are coming for Bill Cosby because he black and any other man because they black, welcome to America.
Yep.
Since you just got here yesterday.
This is America.
I mean, this is what
Don't
we
get
got.
You slipping, no.
The statistics
yeah.
tell the truth.
Well,
Number
he's
2,
right. I'm very glad that he brought up Subway Jared and Sandusky because they did come very hard at them. Subway Jared was about to, he probably has at this point been raped repeatedly, I would imagine.
Maybe.
And Kate, for those of you who, that sounds terrible, but if you don't know, sex offenders, especially those who target children, are on the very bottom of the totem pole in prison, to the point where sometimes they have to be put in protective custody because the other prisoners make it their point to fuck them up, literally and figuratively. So,
they are literally at the bottom of a totem pole.
they really are, because if you think that your crime don't matter when you go in, you would be sadly mistaken. There's some shits you can do that society will frown on, and so will the other convicts within the prison system.
I still don't condone rape.
No.
But I know it happens.
Yes.
To people like him.
Yes.
Number 2 from Colin. Charlemagne is trash.
Yes. Accurate.
I used to like Charlemagne just listening to him on Vlad's Couch, which he interviewed a lot of artists and stuff. But like my new understanding of Charlemagne is that if he like you, he shows on the show that he like you.
Yeah.
If he don't like you, he shows on the show that he don't like you. And even if he believe, like the Childish Gambino interview he had, he don't believe this. Like when with Umar Johnson saying the same things that people saying regarding Childish Gambino, he's with it. But now you know that it's racial issues that with. So I don't know his level of growth, man. He just seemed to be his perceptions and ideas just seem to go with who was in front of him at the time. So the consistency that I thought he might have had ain't there.
Well, and he full of shit. Like, I didn't watch the royal wedding. We'll talk about it, but he got on, I don't know what social media platform, and was saying black women been queens and we don't. Nigga, shut the fuck up. First of all, let's not act like this is not a significant occurrence. First, she is mixed. She's half black and half white. But this is not no shit that the royal family usually allows. Like, this is a big deal. Like, I don't know why people act like you can't enjoy something without them having to be like, well, black women been queens. First of all, Charlamagne, you ain't treated black women as such or had very nice things to say about us a lot of times, so you can shut the fuck up. And you can just let these people enjoy it. If you ain't with it, then don't watch it. I didn't watch it. I moved on with my life. But the people that did watch it, I ain't had no problem with it. I hate when people do shit like that. So he talking about we didn't need a royal family to make black women queens. Okay. All right, Charlamagne.
She ain't no queen anyway.
She ain't no queen. She's going to be a duchess.
Anyway, Charlamagne,
Fuck him.
he's become irritating for me to even watch the Breakfast Club interviews.
Yeah.
And Jennifer Lewis had a really good Breakfast Club interview this week. The Black Mama of Hollywood.
Yeah, I know Jennifer. I don't know how you could not know who Jennifer Lewis is.
I don't know names. I'm bad with names.
I am too, but I know her name because she make all these funny videos and shit, and I like her personality. Like, who she actually is in real life is a lot of these black mamas that she play. Like, Jennifer Lewis is amazing.
It was a good interview, and Snoop Dogg had a good interview too. They talked about Tupac, and I like interviews where they talk about Tupac.
Yeah,
because he asked, just to go to the other bit, he asked, how do you feel about all of these rappers that's, comparing themselves to Tupac and saying that they like Tupac? And he was like, I don't got no problem with it. Like, the new generation, they can do what they want to do. The problem is they have to understand what kind of person Tupac was. He was a loving person, a caring person, a kind person. So if you ain't comparing yourself to Tupac on the grounds of what kind of person you are and your character, then it's just not accurate. Like, if you just think Thug Life was the only thing Tupac was, comprised of,
yeah,
you wrong. So I like that interview. But anyway, number 3 from Colin. Sorry to get so far off your letter. I agree about Kanye wishing he was Donald Glover. Yes. Perhaps, but you know what they say. If you have to keep telling everyone you're a genius, you're probably not. Don Glover just is. He makes his art and that's it. Kanye is a 40-year-old rapper with nothing else to his name except some ugly-ass sneakers and some holy wife beaters. Fuck out of here, Kanye.
I love him.
L.
Thank you so much, Colin.
Kind regards, Colin Smith. Appreciate that input, man.
And that is such a good point about the fact Donald Glover made This Is America. He set that shit down there and walked the fuck off. Like, mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He dropped this bomb of hidden meanings and all of this shit. He just walked away. Had that been Kanye had been doing all kind of interviews talking about his process and talking about how he did this and that and what level of genius it takes and how everybody ain't gonna be able to understand it because they ain't at his level, but you can understand it on a very simplistic. Like, he would have been doing that shit. Donald Glover made that shit and just walked the fuck off. Like, all right, enjoy.
He just rolled a grenade into America and then pulled a pin, rolled a grenade in America,
and walked the fuck away.
Then walked away. Nobody even saw him do it. Everybody just looked down and said, "Oh, grenade!" Boom! It blew up on everybody's ass, and it's like, "Oh, this is America."
Yep.
Don't get this. Let me know.
Listen, I listen to that shit in the morning, and the part where he starts dancing, I do that shit every fucking time. When I get dressed in the morning and that beat drop, I start
that shit. Like it took to my surprise. It's like, oh, friendly, islandy type sound. And then as soon as that dude gets shot in the head, it's a wrap.
You be like, what? Wait, what the fuck?
Like, it take you a whole minute to catch up.
Because it's nothing about the beginning would lead you to believe that a murder is about to happen.
Yeah, but
yes, that is true. That true genius does not need to be told that it's genius. It just is. It exists.
Again, appreciate that. Colin, this is from Rockman. This is very long.
It's very long.
But I know Cliff, aka Rockman, got some valuable input in terms of the nerd dialogue that we had.
Okay.
Hey guys, Rockman3K3 here, and I must say that was a magnificent episode and it touched home for me a lot. So this is a two-parter, and I'm sorry about that. I hope you guys forgive me. Red, you basically and honestly answered the question, do women like a good nerd? With realness, and I sincerely appreciate your answer to the question because that is exactly what it is in terms of what women want. In my experience of the dating world as a nice guy nerd, it's been really tough and exhausting. I've come to the understanding that it's not necessarily so much that women don't want a nice guy or a nice nerd guy, but rather women are attracted to three things: success, security, and confidence.
Yes.
A lot of times, good guy nerds like myself usually struggle with all three because, well, to put it quite frankly, we are trying to do one of those things really well, but it will take time to get there. I have an axiom that I've created that has always proven to be true. Only a few want to start with you at the foundation of something, and no one wants to help you build it. But everyone wants to come live and party with you once you reach the penthouse level of building. What does that mean? Well, speaking of my own hypothesis of why I'm not chosen a lot of time in the sport of dating would have to be because I'm still trying to get a lot of things in order to achieve a lot of things, and well, I can't be as flashy as someone focusing only on the now. I've made and I continue to make so many sacrifices for my dreams, my projects, and so many other things I have in works for the future. So I don't have time most times money to seem flashy and successful or perceive that of a high status confident person. It's not to say that some people don't have that naturally, but it probably explains why some women pass over guys like me and then reminisce over us and lament us later when we are successful. I agree with Red's analysis and answer for women in those situations. Just be honest about what you want. Don't say you want a good man. Say exactly what you want and then work towards that happening. If women want an assertive man of success and confidence, then say that and stop stringing the less aggressive nice guy along. And I'm perfectly fine with the friend zone or friend zoning me. What I'm not okay with is visitation day in the friend zone. What is visitation day, you might ask? It's peering in to see if the glass dick is still secure in a jar and whether or not it's time to break it open. In any case, the definition of the nice guy nerd is the go with the flow guy who doesn't need to validate his masculinity every 2 seconds and knows exactly who he is and what he wants at all times. He's the guy that scratches his head every time some women complain about toxic masculinity, yet crave it in their personal lives all the time. He is a guy content with his nerd lifestyle while chasing his dreams and is still able to ask you out on a date for ice cream. We're not perfect and sometimes wear our emotion on our sleeve and can be very stoic or silent at times.
Can we have my... Because I'm going to forget if I don't comment. I was with you up until the toxic masculine. Because that's a very... There's a big-ass chasm between, toxic masculinity, where you are. There's some middle ground. Like, I don't feel like it's either you're not very aggressive at all or you're like... Come here, bitch! Like, I feel like it's a middle ground. I don't really agree with the whole, because I do not date people with toxic masculinity, but I also don't want to date somebody that I don't feel like there's some middle ground. That's all I'm saying. Like, I don't feel like it has to be one or the other.
Well, masculine is the middle of the scale when it comes to like masculinity. Masculine is like the just general American, and then you go all the way over to the left, and then you have somebody that is not masculine. Then you go all the way to the right, and that's what toxic masculinity is.
Yes,
it's like a scale upon which you land on that situation.
Everything in life is about balance. I mean, everything in life is about balance. So you don't have to go all the way to the toxic masculinity side, but there are things that you can do to bring you back into balance, into the middle part. So I was with you up into the toxic masculinity part. Sorry.
We are content with not being the life of the party, but we will always give you the attention you deserve despite how you are portrayed. We are portrayed in the media. We know that while we are not a boss, we are leaders with the ability to think both abstractly and critically depending on what the situation calls in terms of demeanor and poise. We don't know everything in life, but we do know how to work together with you to make it to our goals together. We are chill guys whose main focus by the end of the day, whether it is a shitty day or a peaceful day, is our peaceful collective happiness and how we can grow together as people in our bubbles against the collection of craziness in this world. We are weird, crazy, cool, unique, special, and different people who follow our own form of bravado, but are always committed to being on the same frequency as you if given a chance. But only if we are given a chance, and most time we are not until you've tried everything else or got more experience elsewhere. But as always, we are right at the foundation where you left us. This is my explanation on it. A little heavy-handed and romantic, I know, but I felt like you guys were talking about deeper than anything that I felt with my right hand. Also, the second thing, the poetry readings are awesome. Here's a name, Pen Trails.
Pen trails.
Huh? Also, I attached one of my poems to the email in case you guys are interested in reading it on air. And I'm so sorry for the long email, but that was a really, really good episode. And it's almost a bridge into a crossover between our shows. Again, thank you so much for a great episode. And you guys keep conning the common vernacular of intellectuals that is conversation.
Jeez. Well.
So this letter was mostly input
On what nerd.
on what nerd
let me say
is.
this, Rockman. Your definition describes you. I don't think that you can say across the board that this is what all nerds are like. Because there are nerds that are. That's the thing. Like you being a nerd does not equal you being a nice guy. I don't know if we touched on that as much, but like there are some selfish ass nerds that this is what I want to do. I'm going to do this. You know, there are nerds that don't pull themselves away from video games. I play video games, and I don't mind dating somebody that plays video games. But if that is what your sole interest is, or can't pull you from that, you know, that might be an issue. So I feel like your description describes you, but not necessarily everyone that may identify themselves as a nerd. And I think the issue that we had last week was kind of coming up with a common definition.
And you know what? I think video games and anime and things of that nature, I think that's also popular nerd culture.
It is.
Because you got astronomy nerds, you got science, chemistry nerds,
Yep.
you got like philosophy nerds, you got nerds in every genre. That's why, like, to me, how do you define a nerd?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Is a measure of nerd having all of that knowledge of a particular intense topic, but you know, but also not having social cues to interact with people appropriately? Because what if you have all that knowledge, but your social interaction with people is fine?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like, and so it's really up in the air. Like, or is it the aesthetic? You know, is it the Steve Urkel versus the Stefan?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Urkel. Like, was it just the look that made a difference? Because Stefan Urkel had all the exact same knowledge as Steve Urkel.
Yeah. He just was a lot smoother.
He was just smooth. So Laura was attracted to one versus the other one.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, that's where when you got a bunch of women saying we love nerds, you know, it's easy for them to say I love somebody who just watch anime and play video games and know a lot about science.
Yeah.
But they have that social interaction.
Yeah.
It's real easy for them to say that. You know, but what about how you feel about the Steve Urkels?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And what do you define them as? Is there a difference between nerds and geeks? Because, you know, when you're talking about Saved by the Bell and Screech or Steve Urkel,
yeah,
you got like nerds versus geek type situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
and I mean,
it's so much
that
I'm trying to tease out and get some definitions for.
And again, nothing is a one size fit all, and everything is about balance. Like, I usually date people that play video games and that watch anime, even though I don't watch anime. The person that I'm dating now, though, doesn't really play video games. He has like one game that he plays, and that's kind of it. He doesn't watch anime. He like is into sports, so he watches like basketball and shit, which I ain't into. He's a lot more what would be titled like masculine. He works out and all of that shit, but he's also one of the most chivalrous or chivalry, and he's chivalrous. He's one of the most chivalrous guys I've ever met as far as opening doors, and like he gets upset because I'm not used to people opening doors and I go and open door. Like, here's the issue that I'm having lately. I will let him open the first door. You know, you go to a restaurant, it's 2 doors. I let him open the first door, and I'm like, well, I'm ahead. I'm just going to open the second door. But he expect me to wait for him to open the second door, too. So we've been having kind of an issue with that because I'm like, well, I'm already here. I just should open the door. I'm right here. And then, whatever. But anyway, neither here nor there. But so if you looked at him, you would not think that he does the things or is as considerate of a person, because he looks like somebody who wouldn't be considerate just from like appearances. But that's not who he is. So like, it just, everything is not a one size fit all. So yeah.
And you know, yeah, this was really good input about nerds, but it was very specific. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like
To him.
So
Like, that's
I do
who
think,
Rockman is.
but
But I don't know that's all nerds.
because I mean, there's different genres of nerds. Like you got World of Warcraft nerds who don't even get up out of the
That's what I'm saying.
off their chair. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like
There's levels.
Rockman, you're very, very social, you know, and functional as it pertains to your knowledge. If we're gonna equate that knowledge to being a nerd, you know. But we all got stuff to work on, man.
Yeah.
In that sense. I'm just trying to get a good handle on what a nerd is. So that's all my comments was looking at. But I appreciate you for writing in, man.
Yep.
We're gonna read your poem next week because because this letter was long and we got another long letter from your partner. So
All right,
y'all
Leroy.
need to check out Nerd Plate podcast.
What the fuck Leroy talking about?
Leroy. The title of this email is question. If I have 10 apples and you have 11 ice cubes, how many pancakes are on the roof? A, purple, because aliens don't wear hats. That is Leroy Ketchum, everybody.
It is. That is a very good example of who he is and what it is like to interact with him.
Yeah. Hey, yo, what's good, my ninjas? A particular comment was brought up in your last recording about nerds and Oreos and some shit. I don't remember said comment. I can, however, say that being a nerd is just being obsessed about any particular subject. I can see that. I mean, that fits into my science, philosophy. If you know a bunch about a particular subject. But let's continue. Growing up a young light-skinned gent and going to a pretty white school, I had a bit of an identity crisis. I've always been called white by my African-American community and white kids were never quite sure what I was. When I transitioned to my high school, which had more black people, I really wasn't accepted by my brethren. I was called an Oreo and all kinds of nicknames. I was always a nerd who listened to stuff like Linkin Park and Gorillaz and the like. I was a huge video game guy like I still am.
First of all, there is nothing wrong with Linkin Park and Gorillaz.
Well,
Those
in
are
his
amazing.
definition, just knowing a lot about them is the variable, not anything about those particular groups themselves.
Well, yeah, but I feel like a lot of black people don't listen to. I think that's more of a black, white than nerd thing because.
Well, but that's how black people define that.
Yeah.
That's how black people from the outside define it. If it ain't cool to them, it's nerd shit.
Linkin Park and Gorillaz is fucking amazing, but go carry on.
I mean, back then, it was nerd shit. Like Linkin Park went hot till Jay-Z did a little thing with them.
Yeah, but look how old Leroy is. Like back then ain't I back then for him. Like back then for him is like when we was in college.
Well, I guess it never changed when it comes to black kids that identify what they think is cool.
Yeah.
Because even for the guys he was around, even at his age, was Gucci Mane who they was listening to. And if he was listening to Linkin Park, then
those are
that's
vastly different
white folk
things.
shit.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, I don't think it mattered really what generation or age.
Yeah.
When I transitioned to my high school, which had more black people, I wasn't really accepted by my brethren. I was calling Oreo and all kind of nicknames. I went back a little bit. I was always a nerd who listened to stuff like Linkin Park and Gorillaz and the like. I was a huge video game guy like I still am. I wasn't persecuted too much for being a nerd. It was more for being light-skinned, but even that passed. The different part of me, while I was hard as hell in the video games, anime and rock music, I was also an athlete, so I guess I had a leg up from most nerds. Mm-hmm. I was also not a young god like now, but I was also not where I am with the ladies like I've seen most nerds do. I like my status as a nerd like I am because I can hoop, I can drink, but I can also argue about most things nerdy, especially anime and video games. Most beautiful people don't believe it, and they see the turtle backpack or the Goku shirt. As you know, here comes the dumb stuff. Red.
Nigga, no.
This is a picture of Doug with his Doug Funny. If y'all remember that show, Doug, with a whole wardrobe, with his whole wardrobe the same. This is a play on the gray shirt that old boy was probably wearing.
First of all, I will have y'all know that I was with him I didn't see him on Thursday. Wednesday, Friday, we even went out of town. We didn't stay overnight, but he didn't even have on anything gray. Not the shirt, the pants, nothing gray. Okay, he does not wear the same gray shirt all the time. And again, on point, I blame you for that bullshit. He does not have the same uniform. He doesn't. Leroy.
If you knew how little I cared about you blaming me, you wouldn't even said that. But
That's all
it
right.
sounds like things are going well. You'll have a lifetime to find that shirt, target it, get rid of it, to make sure that he never wears it again, because you're going to be fucked with in your head every time you see him wear that
If
shirt.
he
My
ever-
voice is gonna be protruding in your head. Cole Jackson from the Government Name Voice, Shogun. These pictures that Leroy Ketchum is sending,
hate him so much.
they just gonna be circling around in your head.
If he
with
ever
that
meets
shirt.
you niggas, he's not wearing anything gray. If he comes to my house with something gray on, I'm gonna be like, hey,
Listen,
maybe no.
listen.
maybe
I'm not the
gray.
type that's ever gonna confront.
I know, but
it,
I don't need
you know?
y'all seeing it in person because I would have to deal with it later. Like, I don't think y'all would say shit to him.
You might
I
as
don't
well.
want to hear it.
You might as well get ready to tell him the story.
No.
and it's your fault
How is it my
because
fault?
you sent both of them pictures.
I didn't even realize he had the same gray shirt on until you pointed it out.
I'm observant
And
for a living.
the shirts the pictures were taken like it wasn't like he, they were 2 days apart and he just wear the shirt all the time. I didn't even realize it till you said something. Leroy, that's all right. I got something for you.
Also, what's your position on cock rings? Now, if you are interested in, knowing where this dialogue come from, go listen to the Government Name podcast and listen to Cole Jackson and Shogun have a dialogue about this. But I haven't used one before. I don't have a position on it, but I do plan on using one at some point in the future. But I don't. That's long-term relationship stuff for me. So I'm not just using them for whatever.
Am I supposed to respond?
Do you know anything about?
No. And I don't want this. That was not an
It's like
invitation to give me a description.
It traditionally would be, but I'm gonna let you off the hook. Also, in the popular song "I Know You See It" by Young Jock, he references oral sex, and I quote, "chewing on that pussy/dick like a piece of bubble gum," and we have let this slide for years. Damn it, something needs to be done.
Yes, that's stupid. That sounds painful. That doesn't sound enjoyable at all. And I think rap is one of those genres of music where, like, if you listen, they say a lot of shit that don't make no fucking sense, and people just let it ride. Like, that is one example of thousands, I'm sure, of shit that they say in songs that if you sit down and think about it, you'd be like, the fuck is he talking about?
It's just some like in one song, Lil Wayne said, "My G's move in silence like lasagna."
Yeah, that makes sense.
But what the fuck did it got to do with anything he talking about?
Cause the G in lasagna, you don't hear it.
I understand that. It just why though?
Silent. I don't know, because he thought it was clever. That's why they say a lot of things, because they think that it's
Yeah,
clever.
I do not think it was clever. I just do not think it was clever.
I mean,
I don't think. Like, first off, I'm hungry now. Okay, thanks. You was just talking about your goons, all right, and now I'm hungry. Those things should not. I should not have transitioned to understanding how your goons operate to being hungry from this metaphor.
he does that a lot with his metaphors. Like, I can't think of anything specific at the moment.
He do
but
it every 2 bars.
He does. It'll be something that you like. Okay, like, I mean, it makes sense, but like, okay,
Whatever.
yeah.
As always, I have been Leroy, Young God, Sage, Saiyan, and Destroyer of Pies. Ketchum.
I hate him. I hate him so much. Now, let me say this about Leroy as far as the nerd shit. But I feel like he's a good example of what I was saying, as far as that you can have these interests in these things. He comes across as a very confident person in who he is. Now, judging from that letter, maybe he wasn't so much in high school, but who was? But like now, even when the first time that I ever interacted with him, he has a lot of confidence about himself. So he's nerdy, but like, again, I don't know that it's the nerd stuff that women have an issue with, as opposed to the other things that can come along with that, because he's a good example of that. He's very confident. He's very funny. But he also is into nerd shit. But he a ball his life ass nigga. Like,
And that's the thing. That's what I like about Rockman's letter. He said that 3 things: success, security, and confidence. So
And I feel like those things do weigh out more than like nerd shit. If you're a nerd but you have those things, I just don't know that the nerd shit is gonna outweigh those things.
So then we start trickling over into nerdiness being connected to character traits.
Yeah.
And the level of knowledge and the lack of smoothness. Like, it's so many different things.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying, like, before we just say I like nerds, I don't like nerds, I think we gotta have some kind of definition. And it just seems like it's so big.
Yeah.
And it's such a wide range of what can be considered nerd.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what about people who don't have no kind of knowledge about nothing? They just ain't successful, confident, or secure person.
That's these niggas that be laying on these bitches' couches and driving their car. Why they gone?
No, it ain't. Them dudes at least provide some
What?
perceived level of security.
What security?
Because these dudes be them overcompensating goons, dudes who act tough and look like they'll do something.
I guess.
That looks like security to those women.
Well, they need to change up
And
their
they
definition
confident.
of security.
And they confident in their ability to trick this woman
True.
into taking her stuff.
That ain't the kind of confidence I need. Though. I need you to be confident in yourself, not confident in your scamming
Your skill
abilities.
set. My scamming skill set.
I'm
I have a lot to
I'm
offer.
the best scammer ever, bitch. You never met a scammer like me.
I have a lot to offer scammers, not women.
I be driving your car. You won't even understand how the fuck we got here. Be picking you up late from work.
Yeah. Horrible.
Baby boy. Jody is a good example of that. That shit was so fucking stupid. I hate that movie. I don't know why everybody think that movie's so great, but I fucking hate it. It's the worst. Stupid ass.
Me either. Don't know. Nothing about that movie was helpful
No.
to the perception of the black community.
It's just a stupid movie.
It's a baby mama movie.
Yeah. That is accurate. Is that all the letters?
That is all the
That
letters.
is all
Thank
the
y'all
letters.
for y'all responses.
Indeed.
Input.
Appreciate it.
I really do.
If you have a question you'd like for us to answer on the show, you can send it into our Gmail account, which is conversationconartist@gmail.com. Or you can find us on Facebook, Conversation Con Artist, and send us a letter that way. And so we just going to go right into Leroy Ketchum. Leroy Ketchum, I want to dedicate this news story to you because I know you a ballless life ass nigga. So this is probably something you can relate to, okay? 25-year-old facing charges after enrolling as a freshman and posing as homeless Hurricane Harvey victim so he could relive his high school basketball glory days. This nigga re-enrolled in school so he could like play basketball. It wasn't enough to just play, around, down the street, He want to be on like a team playing other teams and have a coach, and he wants to do that. His name is Sidney Gilstrap Portley.
Gilstrap.
Yep.
Is that his middle name?
No, it's a hyphenated last name, Gilstrap Portley.
What mama do that to their kids?
What do you mean? Is it her for her last name, Gilstrap?
What?
That's the last name, Gilstrap.
Who hyphenate their kids' names?
Some people do that shit.
Why?
I don't know.
Who names are those? Like, whose names be hyphenated when you give a hyphenated name to your kids?
It's the parent. Like, so her maiden name probably Gilstrap, and she got married Portley, but she didn't just want to be a Portley, so she hyphenated her name and then hyphenated the kids' names.
Whatever.
So he was apparently doing this thing on the basketball team, making headlines for almost a whole year until an old coach recognized him and snitched him out, basically. He apparently even dated a 14-year-old classmate, according to them. Now, you're doing too much now, Sydney. Like, it's bad enough that you are pretending to be a hurricane, a victim of a hurricane, and that you don't have a home and that you back on the team. But dating a 14-year-old is what they call statutory, and that's a problem. The girl's mom apparently had met him and thought that he was the same age. He looks, these kids.
Have you been in the high school?
No. I ain't been in high school since I was in high school, probably.
I go to schools to work with kids. Mm-hmm. And so many of these kids look
old.
so grown. it ain't really no surprise that an actual grown man can get away with being in a school.
Well, again, I'm not a basketball player, so Leroy, if you'd like to write in next week and let us know why ball is life to this extent, please do. But let's say he just really wanted to play. That's fine, I guess. Do that. But the dating of the 14-year-old girl, like...
But what if that was his actual goal?
To date the 14-year-old?
Yes. What if his goal was to integrate into a school, get to the school, and then date the 14-year-old girl, and he just happened to get on the basketball team while he was doing that? Like, how do we know he's not just a pedophile instead of a baller's life cat?
I mean, that's worse than him being a baller.
Oh, absolutely, it's worse. I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I'm just saying, ain't nobody ever did this for basketball, but they be doing this to get with these young underage girls.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like R. Kelly's whole career. I feel like when R. Kelly was like 15 years old, he was like, I want to be a singer, so I get some young girls. I'm gonna craft my life in a way that's gonna help me get young girls. Like, I don't feel like he ever liked older women. Like, I don't think his love for women ever passed 17.
Doesn't seem like it did.
And he said, what is the best career? Teacher? Nah, that be hard to get him to do my house. Daycare worker, but yeah, you know, if I expose myself, I'm gonna get put on the sex offenders. What can I be? You know what? I could be a fucking R&B singer. I can sing. Let me see if I can sing. La 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 la. Oh shit, I can sing. Hell yeah. I'm finna get all of the 14-year-olds.
Jesus. Hopefully Sydney was not of that mindset. Maybe.
Clearly. Because R. Kelly been thinking about it since he was 10.
Yes.
Sydney just started thinking about it when a hurricane happened. He said, how can I capitalize on this situation?
Or he might have just really wanted to play basketball, and because he around all these little girls all the time, I guess he just, I don't know, because again, this is the issue that I have with pedophilia, because I don't have that predilection, so like, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't give a fuck if I was like pretending to be in school at a school. I just can't see me finding a little 14-year-old boy attractive. I just can't. I can't see me being like, well, I'm here and they think I'm the same age. By the way, I'll just date him. Like, that's so creepy to me. Like, I don't understand how you make that okay in your mind. Like, well, you know, she's 14. That's all right.
They got a couple of screws up in their head loose. I mean, you don't have that.
Yeah.
Your screws are somewhat secured.
Yeah, a little bit.
There's like
secure.
they like if you look in their brain, some of their screws on the floor. You can look up and don't know where the hell which holes they go in. Like, damn, that screw long and that was short. I don't know which the fuck one go into this hole. You know, so I mean, they are compromised mentally to the degree that they like that. Well, I guess I think that there's some prepubescent situation. I think pedophilia is more like a fetish. I think something happened at that age with them and girls, and it never allowed their minds to push them past an attraction level that it should have. So as they continued to grow, their mind was stagnant in the age of women that they deal with. That don't condone that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think some of them just find it easier to interact with 14-year-olds as opposed to a woman their age?
Because of that reasoning. Yes, I think that it don't go that far.
Yeah.
And I think that even though like somebody like R. Kelly has probably learned very well to communicate with adults in the adult world, in the business, I think that he really, really can connect with these young girls, as evidenced by his ability to get them to fucking live in cages. Like, he is literally the embodiment of the Pied Piper.
The fact that he chose that fucking name is still just, it blows my mind that he was that straightforward with what the fuck he is. Like, if y'all don't know the story of the Pied Piper,
for new listeners, the Pied Piper in the old German tales, and if you know anything about old German stories, they are fucking horrible.
They are.
They had a whole bunch of like Hansel and Gretel, because that ain't no American shit. They names is Hansel and Gretel. That's German shit. That shit never turned out good, but it was to scare kids. It was like fear tactics to get kids to do what adults needed them to do.
Yeah.
So they had a bunch of like horrible stories, and the Pied Piper was one. but it was more an adult horror story.
That was an adult horror
But the
story because
pop-
there were rats.
Yeah.
The town was like infested with rats. He could play his little pipe or his little flute, and
he had a little tune.
he did, and the rats would follow. And so he ridded the city of the rats, and they were supposed to pay him. Well, then they started trying to, fuck around with not wanting to pay him what they had agreed upon.
Pied Piper was like, "Where's my money?" And the king was like, "Bitch, no." Close the gates on his ass.
So what he did
Okay.
was played a different tune and got all the children in the village to follow him, and basically took all their children from them.
Except one kid, like the kids that were blind and the kids that were physically disabled.
Yeah.
They were the ones that didn't escape, and they told all the adults
Yep.
what happened. But in the story, the kids never were found.
Nope.
Nobody knows what happens. If you go look at some of the history of the story, it's hypotheses as to what happened. Some of them say he walked the kids into the water and they all drowned. Some say he walked the kids into a cave and started having like sex with them. Like, it's a bunch of horrible stories of what he did. The fact that R. Kelly literally named himself the fucking Pied Piper.
A man who plays music to lure children. Like, how much more straightforward could a name be? Like, that was the perfect name for the most awful reasons. It is amazing to me. And nobody, I feel like this is like a recent thing that people are like, it's fucked up he named this. Cause I feel like when he first started calling himself the Pied Piper, even when this shit started first coming out with him and these young girls, Aaliyah even, I don't know if people was like, oh, that's why that nigga called himself the Pied Piper. I feel like it took us a little time to catch up with the fact that this nigga really is the Pied Piper out here. Like, he really out here doing this shit. Like, that's just crazy to me that he chose that fucking name, yo. Really?
It's ridiculous.
The best name he could have ever chosen. And for the worst reason. But yeah, so Leroy, I mean, I know ball is life, and I know you like to play ball. But just don't be like Sydney. You don't have to go back. And Leroy worked with kids, so you don't need to like go back to high school to play ball. Y'all got a group, don't you? A group chat where y'all
Yes, we do.
Okay, so you just need to stick to that, Leroy. You're just not gonna be able to relive your high school days. So let this be a cautionary tale about what not to do. So. Ball is life, man. Ball is life.
So if you watch porn, raise your hand. Let the record show that my hand is raised.
You sound like Eminem on the end of 8 Mile when he was like, "Now everybody from the 313, put your motherfucking hands up and follow me." And then the very thing he was like, "Now while he stands up, notice that this man did not have his hands up." That's what that reminded me of.
According to our society, I'm not proud of it, in the context of our society. But I don't. It's just what it is, I mean, I'm not saying I'm ashamed of doing it. You know what I'm saying? But it's what it is. And if you haven't, like, if you don't watch porn, like, I'm sure you've seen a pop up that you ain't expect to see.
I don't believe that there's anybody that has never seen a porn ever. I just don't believe that. If you say that, I'm gonna look at you side eye.
I don't know, man. I think like Catholics.
They
Some
probably
households-
are the biggest watchers of porn because
Well, I'm not saying. I'm saying that Catholicism in its extreme version, you might find a person who ain't never seen nothing like that.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe, I don't know. It's people out there who ain't seen.
I feel like even then that you telling them to this extreme that they can't do all of these other things. Well, we'll just watch this porn in the privacy of my own home and masturbate. I feel like they are more likely to do it just because of the fact that they have to be so suppressed because of their religion. So I just don't believe. I think everybody has seen porn at some point. Like, you may not watch it religiously, but I feel like everybody has seen.
Well, if you watch it, if you know about it, there's a bunch of different genres of it. We've talked about this before.
We have talked about this,
and
unfortunately.
Interracial. Mm-hmm. Interracial really only means a black man with a white woman.
So what is a black woman with a white man?
I mean, it's technically interracial, but that's not the focus of the porn industry.
That's okay.
Like, a black woman with anybody ain't really. It's just a black woman getting banged by some dude.
We can't even get no respect in the porn industry. God damn.
There's a lot of racism in the porn industry.
Shit.
But there's also a lot of invalidations of people because they are in porn. For example, we see a lot of that with Stormy Daniels.
Yes.
They continue to try to invalidate her truths just because she's in an industry that society frowns upon.
Here's my issue. If you feel that way about her, then you really should be upset at your president for even fucking around with her. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you feel like she's this terrible, awful person, he willingly, voluntarily had an affair with a porn star, but she the one that's the problem in this situation. The fuck out of here. People are stupid.
But anyway, the story
that's misogyny at its best.
It's definitely misogyny. The man everybody's okay with the man doing what he do, but the woman is not a good situation
Bullshit.
for her. A black male porn star is suing after his white female co-star called him the N-word during filming.
So was that, because I know from online dating now and ghetto gagging, was that part of the setup for this particular porn?
No,
that
because
he
they
was like
asked him
okay.
if they could, because to be honest, there's a large portion of porn that caters to racists.
I figured as much. That's why I was asking, like, was it supposed to be that way? Or but you're saying that
Apparently,
they had asked
when he came on set, not when he came on set, but when he got there, when he got to the place where he works to have this scene, he did not accept this job under the pretense that it was going to be some kind of racial dialogue to it. They asked him if they could, and he said, no, I do not like that word. I don't like being called that word, and I don't care if I'm butt naked. You can't just call me what you want to call me. But she did it anyway at the very end of the scene. And so now he's suing.
Okay. Sue him. Go ahead. If you didn't agree to it, then you didn't agree to it. Because here's the thing. You asked him if it was okay, and he told you no. If you were not going to honor it, you shouldn't even asked.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to be taken seriously.
Of course it's not, because he's a porn star. But it
not
should
even
be.
that. I mean, he a black man. And what if it wasn't porn, and if it was a job interview or a work relationship? You know what I'm saying? Like, black men still get shafted. People don't like.
He
white
would
America
be
don't look
taken
at
more serious though. Like he would still probably get shafted, but they're not even gonna entertain this. Probably,
you know, we seeping into another dialogue out of this, but like, white people don't take white people's racism towards black people seriously.
No, they don't.
We take white people's racism towards us very seriously.
We have to. It's a life or death situation in some case. Like, we don't have the luxury of not taking it seriously because it could lead to some very serious fucking outcomes.
That's where
seen.
That's where we keep getting to that. You know, you got to know what's in their heart. The only thing that I'm for certain that is in somebody's heart is blood. And if you eat like Donald Trump, fatty content. Okay, that is all that I know. Race, all that shit, that ain't got nothing to do with no damn heart. Heart don't do nothing but pump blood. That's why, like, that shit confused me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's the stupidest
from
shit.
the bottom of my heart. Your heart ain't got shit to do with thoughts, emotions, or feelings, or none of that shit. But if that's how you want to feel,
but you
fine.
know that for centuries the heart has been connected to the emotion of love.
Why?
I don't know.
I mean, I do know that there's something.
I don't even know why they even start, because a heart looks nothing like the drawing that we use.
Because this is from my research.
Okay.
Because a heart in our society has been equated to the shape of a woman's ass. Because from a patriarchal society where the men run the show, when they get to define what this thing look like, they do it based off of what they like to see in women.
So every time I send a heart emoji, I'm basically sending somebody an ass shot. No, because ain't an ass shot is an ass shot. You are sending somebody the concept from a patriarchal society, which is also misogynist. I always wondered that
the representation of a heart for men
it looks
is a
nothing
woman's ass.
A heart heart is like a lumpy mass, like what an actual heart looks like.
It
with
got
the
valves on it
the
and stuff.
valves and shit. It looks nothing like this little like cutesy shit that we teach kids to draw and that we use as emojis. It looks nothing like that. And I've always been confused, like where they got this from, because it looks nothing like what an actual heart.
And maybe I'm wrong, but I did research on this. I did research on this when I wrote them those little writings, the peach thief, the apple thief.
Oh yeah.
I looked it up with those, and so I was like, seriously? And I just kept looking. That's like it kept going back to that. So if somebody have a like real understanding of where that come from, but that's like where it's at least hypothesized to come from.
So
Because nobody
funny.
knows.
Yeah.
But that's where it's hypothesized to come
so
from.
funny, man.
But that don't have anything to do with race. Like race is like conditioning, is what you taught. Like,
Yeah.
you know, everybody in the world will say, you know, a kid don't become racist because they're inherently racist. It's because the society that we live in is inherently racist, and they're going to come to see racist things, and they're going to come to start realizing that, dang, white people hang out with white people, black people hang out with black people.
learned
I should
behavior.
hang out with white people, and I shouldn't hang out with black people, and that's what it becomes.
It's learned.
So we have yet to have a conversation about what to do with good white people, and I keep bringing it up on the podcast. We're gonna talk about it coming up soon, but
Coming.
that's an issue. That's an issue. Like, I can't fix racism as a person that is discriminated against. The only people that can fix racism is somebody that the racists perceive is on equal footing with them. That's it. And if they believe that I am not, that I am somehow lesser than them, I am not where the solution is going to be found. Ever. You know, so just, you know, this story for me, even in its preposterousness, you know, it just made me see that, like, man, this man blatantly told him that
Not
he didn't
to
want to
do
be
it.
called
Yeah.
a nigga. And the crazy thing about it is, I think this is the only place in the world where a white person will ask a black person if it's okay for him to call him that. But you know what? They still called him that
They
shit.
still did it. They didn't get
They
it.
legitimately still called him that after he had, like, ain't nowhere else where it's appropriate for, except in the bedroom if you're in an interracial relationship and you want to do some slave master play. I don't know if that's a thing or
the
not.
fuck agrees to that? It is a thing, because I feel like we did a letter about this maybe at the beginning when we first started doing the podcast, where there was a woman who married this white man, and he started wanting to do that, and then it started carrying over into their like regular life, where he would make jokes at her expense when they were out with his friends and shit. Who would agree to that? First of all, I no longer date white men because of reasons that I think I've stated on the show before. But if I did, and you came at me with some let's play slave master tonight type shit, like, how can you in good conscience agree to that? I have nothing against role playing, but like a role in which I'm gonna be degraded to that point. Like, so
Some
what
people
is it
like
that
being
you-
degraded.
So what does that mean? What does that mean that you think of me when we're outside of these instances? Like, that's why I couldn't be okay with it, because if you're willing to degrade me here, you can't think much of me outside of this.
But what about degrading but not with race? Like, what about like submissives? Because the context of submissives is being, a big part is being controlled, but some of it is being degraded.
It is.
Some of it is being talked from
I don't
down
really
upon.
understand that concept either, but I feel like, I don't know. With race, I feel like,
You feel like race is just off limits, should be off limits.
because it so easily can become carried over into the rest of life. Not to mention, in an interracial relationship, it's probably people in your family already who don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially down here in the South, like, it's probably some shit I already have to deal with in our regular life because your grandparents is racist as fuck. You know what I'm saying? We can't barely even go over to their house and shit because they still calling me colored or whatever. Like,
You know what? For that role playing, you ain't even gotta be playing old slave master. You could just be playing just Alabama. If you wanna call them the N word, just play Alabama. They still doing that. But they do it everywhere. But
They
you know,
do.
I live in Alabama and I've
Yeah.
seen it happen.
It
like,
happens.
dude called me a nigga passing by me on the road. I don't know what I did. I have no idea what I did. I really feel like he just said, I'm calling somebody a nigga today.
Yep.
I feel like he
This nigga.
felt like that when he woke up that morning
Possible.
and he got on his motorcycle. I don't know what I did on the road. He rode by and yelled nigger and just kept going. I'm like,
So weird.
glad you got it off your chest. Hope you feel better because of it, but
I feel like
Alabama.
because race is something that, especially if you're in an interaction, and Leroy actually talked about this with him and his wife. It's something that they see regularly. I just feel like that's something that you carrying over into the bedroom and into your private time is too much. Like, if you're doing like the submissive dominance, you're probably not going to be treated that way with him outside of that. But like race shit happens all the time, every day. You know, right? Like, I just, I don't understand it. Like, no, we never playing slave master and slave, bitch. No. And the fact that you even asked me, I couldn't be with somebody after that. Like, even if you were just asking and I said no, I'm looking at you different now after this. I can't be with you anymore.
I was playing a game with some guy. Like, it's another thing that white people do that like that don't mean no harm by it. Like, if they are using, I think it depends on the kind of person, but if they are going to, like, they will use the N word. They will say nigga. Like, outside of the like, I don't believe they racist. I don't believe they racist.
They just like to
but
say it.
they are not willing to censor a word, or at least they are not even willing to question whether that word is problematic.
I don't understand why it's like Lil Dicky, the Freaky Friday song, when he became Chris Brown. One of the first things was like, can I say the N word? What up, my nigga? My nigga.
Yeah.
Fuck you, nigga. Like, and I know that was like satirical, but I feel like white people are real. Like, it's like they get so excited. Why do you care this much about this word?
One, black people are cool as fuck.
We are cool as fuck.
Two, we are a large part of black culture. Let me say we. Black culture is a large driving force for a lot of our cultural context of our society.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of things originate with black community, whether it's dialogue or video types or things of that nature.
Music genres.
But when you have white people who want to deeply feel connected to black people, that's just another thing that I think they perceive as not cool as in itself, but the representation of how we use it towards one another. I think a lot of them want to say it. And I think Lil Dicky falls under the category of people who would like to be connected enough to have that. You know what I'm saying? Like, as misguided as it is, my cousin used to have a white girlfriend, Heather. And she used to say nigga around the house, you know, and my cousins are just, they don't give a shit about nothing. So it's like, it ain't really nothing anybody can do there, like, provoke them. And I didn't care, just because I support your ability to be able to say whatever the hell you want to. I can't support, you know, I can't shield you from the consequences of it. So I had a conversation with her. I was like, what do you say that for? You know, like, what makes you say that? Because we accept you without you having to say it, and you keep saying it, you know, regardless. So, like, what is it about that? And then I just gave her the rundown of, you know, what I don't want to do in this house, and what I don't want us to do is set you up for thinking that black people are okay with this.
Because they
like,
not gonna be.
Not every black person okay with this. We accept you, and so the things you do we accept, but I wouldn't be doing my due diligence if I didn't let you know this. And she stopped saying it after that, you know. But, you know, I try to do my part in that situation, but I just, you know, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with some of this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with some of it. But that's my story on that. That's all I got.
I avoided talking about Tierra Marie because I know this is gonna become a disgusting conversation.
It don't have to. I feel very forgiving today. I let you loose on the cock ring situation, so I'll keep it PG, 13, 17, 20.
Oh Jesus! Now you keep going. So if y'all don't know, Tierra Marie had a singing career, but like depending on how old you are, you may not know that. You may only know her from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. Either way, so last week, a video of her getting showered upon with semen came out, and 50 Cent actually posted it on his Instagram and got in trouble for it. And so the same lady that was, or is it her mom? I don't know, it is Lisa Bloom. Same lady that was like supposed to be helping Blac Chyna sue Rob for all of that shit when he was releasing shit about her. Is supposed to be helping Tierra Marie release or sue her boyfriend, who she is saying leaked the video. Her boyfriend's name is Akbar Abdul Ahad.
He wasn't born with that name. He must have became Muslim and changed his name to that junk.
He must have, because it's Akbar
he black.
Abdul Ahad. He said he didn't release the video or whatever. I don't really care who released the video. And let me just say this. I wholeheartedly believe that this is a situation the same as Mimi Faust and that shower curtain porn that was released. I feel like Mona Scott, this shit comes out when a new season's supposed to come on to get people to watch, because this will be mentioned on this season of the show. And so I feel like this was just like publicity for people to watch this show. Because then it later on came out, Mimi was on the show acting like, oh my God, somebody stole the tape. No. And then you find out that she released it, she was in agreement with it, thought she was going to get some money off of it. And I feel like this shit with Tia Marie is going to be exactly the same.
No, I think she's genuinely.
Why?
What you mean?
Why do you think that?
I mean, I guess time will tell if it's really the case, but.
Because I feel like.
And first off, it wasn't enough that was released. You know, I mean, that legitimately just looked like some accidental release footage outside of how she's responded to it. Like, it ain't no kind of setup. It's just, you know.
I didn't see it, so.
Yeah, it's just a little short clip of, you know, their sexual escapades. And, you know, it just don't. So the material that was released and how it was released matches her response. Versus with Mimi, then we knew she had cameras set up and it was on purpose. You know, so it just seemed, now time will tell whether it was or not, but
I just feel like it's a convenient time for that to have happened.
I was in a group and this dude said, you know, if you ever in front of a camera, you should expect it to be released. And he got roasted in the group by the women, you know. He said what he said. I don't know if he meant to say that or not, because I'm tired of people saying, well, this is what he meant to say. Like with Kanye, this is what he meant to say. He might have meant to say what he said, but let me give a better version of what he was saying. I think that you can't rule out all the possibilities of what you're doing at that time.
Nope.
I think that if you have a camera in your face and somebody is recording that you trust today, if you don't trust them tomorrow, what's going to happen with that?
Yep.
If your relationship goes down the drain very, very quickly, what is going to happen to that footage and material? You know, are they vindictive enough of a person to put it out there? I'm not saying you should expect them to do it. I'm saying that you should be prepared for the worst case scenarios of participating in something that can leave you very vulnerable and very exposed when you don't want to be.
I'm an avid believer of leaving no evidence behind. I don't understand. First of all, you need to be in the moment. And then secondly, you know, most of the time when this shit happens, it's not like it's with somebody that these people just met. It's somebody that they were in a relationship with, that they loved, that they had trust for. So that tells me that you just never fucking know. So to protect myself, I've just always been like, no evidence ever will be left behind.
It's homegrown porn websites where like people upload porn on their just regular folks, just like porn YouTube. People upload what they want to, and there's a lot of women on there that like wrap their heads up or they buy a specific type of mask or something, because I do think that recording is some level of voyeurism. You know, I think that some dudes and some women like get off a little bit more knowing that they're being watched or there's potential to be watched somewhere. It's just that dudes always have the luxury of being hidden in that, because when it comes to the porn industry, the women are supposed to be the highlight of the situation. You know, so I think that, I mean, there's room for that, but you have to be careful.
But I feel like that's
with that kind of situation.
If you know, like, you're doing this for upload, that's different than you feeling like, oh, I love him and he loves me and we're gonna do this, and then when y'all ain't
to be honest, it's a whole bunch of that stuff on them websites that I'm sure were not consented, and I'm sure it's a bunch of women out there who going to work and interacting with their family, and it's dudes releasing stuff online about them that they don't know is out there, and somebody at some point probably gonna let them know, hey, you know, I mean, I know I got a friend that I know who said a dude put, you know, interactions with them too on website, you know, and told her that he did, and then she was like, take it down now. And so I know a lot of that goes on, but
fuck that. That's what I'm saying. Like,
you gotta be careful in that situation. Like you said, I mean, when you say I love you, I trust you, I don't think you do anything bad to me. Yesterday you won't.
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm saying. You don't.
What
never
happens
know.
tomorrow when y'all's relationship has went south, and or he been cheating on you, and now you gotta let him go, and he mad, you know, or somebody got a hold of his phone, one of his homeboys, you know. It can be so many different reasons why you need to be careful when you get ready to do something like that. You know, I mean, that person can be prosecuted. Revenge porn is a problem, you know. But even if he's prosecuted, you not gonna be able to get your dignity back or whatever.
And everybody
whatever
gonna
you
be
lost.
synced. And once something out on the internet, completely erasing it from everywhere is difficult to accomplish.
I feel like if I become famous, I'm just gonna throw a preemptive sex tape out there just to do it. Be like, I already know. I got famous with a sex tape already out there. I don't care.
Oh.
Did you see that? This ain't a part of my story, but did you see that Kaya got married?
I did see that. I was.
Did you see the dude?
Yeah, he looks regular.
He looked like Idris Elba, but if he only got like 50% of the nutrients he should have from his parent at birth. Like,
I didn't know where you was going with this, because I was like, Idris Elba.
yes, but only if he did not get all of what he was supposed to get while he was in the womb. But you know, who did we really expect Kaya to end up with?
I mean, he looked way more regular than what I would have given. I would have thought that she would have ended up with a nigga that looked like Quavo or Offset, like one of the Migos, that's tatted up, dread. Like, I just felt like that's who she was gonna be with. He looked regular as fuck for her, so I was surprised.
Yeah, but
to be honest. So okay.
He I wondered if he asked her for like we got to go to the clinic when he started dating. Like, you know, them rumors about you was that you had AIDS, and you do look like you kind of could have it. So let's go to the clinic and get this fixed up.
Oh my! So this has nothing to do with anything.
What?
And it's a pretty terrible story.
Oh, okay.
But okay, so I found this YouTube channel of this guy, this white guy who has done a lot of time in prison. So he made these videos about what prison is really like.
Oh, I know somebody else who watched them.
So I watched a bunch of his video, and then my recommendation, you know, YouTube, you can fuck your recommendations up if you watch too much of the same thing. So then they started recommending these other videos, and there was this one. I feel so bad for this guy. It's such a terrible story. I don't even know. The AIDS is what made me think of it. This guy, little skinny white guy, young, I think he was 20 at the time, was drunk driving and killed somebody, vehicular homicide. And because he was white, they only gave him a year and like a bunch of probation, right? So that sounds fine. Just a year. He went into prison Immediately when he got in there, like, he was approached by people that was like, hey, you know, looking at you, you gonna need some protection, like, you know, because he'd never even been in any kind of trouble at all. So, like, he just looked like a deer in headlights. So he got like $70 in commissary. I can't remember if it was weekly or monthly. They was like, you give us $60 of your 70 and we'll protect you. So he did. They did not protect him. Okay. He giving them this money. Still getting into fights and shit, and like they're not helping him. And so he started doing some kind of classes, and he thought he had class on a Saturday. He didn't. So he goes to the building where the class is, and the door closed. And like 6 dudes like jumped him, beat him, raped him for like a long time. And he had to be like hospitalized. And then they flagged him apparently where they moved him around because he was like a victim to different jail. Like he never stayed in one place and he had a lot more protection and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, serve his year, he get out. Trying to put all of this behind him. And then he finds out they tested him when he was hospitalized behind this. He was fine, but he gets tested upon leaving prison and contracted HIV from the rape.
Damn.
1 year is all he got. 1 year. This all happened in a year's time.
Well,
Which just
all it takes is one bad fuck to get AIDS. What are you talking about? What do you mean?
I'm saying though, but like this is why I want to stay my black ass out of prison. Like even if you don't get a long sentence.
What do women get raped with?
I think objects. I think they use whatever objects they have lying around. I guess. I don't want to know. I don't know. These are raw. I haven't seen it. You know what? Maybe I should find some women videos. But all of the ones that I've seen are like dudes that have been to prison. Like, and what the other guy that I was watching, he showed you how to make prison. Like he made a pizza. At the end of it, the shit looked like a pizza. I was so impressed. The crust was like crackers, like saltine crackers and Ritz crackers that he like crunched up, put water in. And like made it into a crust and like put it in the microwave and cooked it and like it looked like a pizza. It's amazing.
That's why I ain't going to jail. Because number one, I am a strong advocate for deliciousness. And while I'm sure you can make deliciousness from
whatever you have,
saltine crackers and ketchup packets, but I ain't trying to live that life. And what, I don't remember what state. Was it Alabama? The Alabama sheriff that apparently when you...
Oh, he was using that money.
Whatever money you pay for food for the prison system, whatever's left over, apparently the sheriff can just get it. So
and he had a beach house.
He bought like a $700,000 beach house from the money that he's supposed to be using for prison. And they talking about the food that the maggots in it and how they get meat donated that is not good for consumption. And like, it is fucking horrendous.
Yeah.
How little we think of human life once the jail system has determined that they've done something enough to go to jail.
Yeah.
And there was supposed to be a prison reform with Meek Mill meeting with Donald Trump.
Oh.
But a lot of high profile black folks called him and said, don't meet with Trump.
Nope.
You know, it's
a bad idea.
Gonna be a problem.
Yep, it's a bad idea.
And
very bad idea. But I mean it's a very interesting, like the one guy, not the guy that got raped. I just watched that one video and I was like, I can't watch any more of these. But he talks about like he was a tattoo artist. This particular guy, Covenant Tattoos, and actually he is doing very well for himself now. Like he is very artistic. His dad owns like a shop where they make these custom surfboards. But they're not for surfing. They put different designs on them and they're for hanging up. And they look amazing. Like, he's such a talented guy. But he talks about, like, tattooing, the dangers of tattooing. He said he was tattooing Crips and Bloods and that almost got it. Because at first they was cool with, you know, him tattooing both sides. And then it was an issue. And he just talked about his experiences. He talked about him having a cellmate that was a pedophile. He didn't know at first that he was a pedophile, but he kept getting these catalogs in, like Babies R Us and different like kids catalogs. And when he confronted him about it, his thing was, well, you know, I got a lot of nieces and nephews and I'm trying to like, you know, pick out stuff for when I get out. He said that that's not unusual because people do that, like, you know, trying to mentally get out of where they are, so they just like daydream about the stuff that they would do if they were out. And so, you know, he said that wasn't odd, but one night he caught him masturbating with one of the magazines, and so then everybody found out, and it wasn't good for the pedophile after that.
Well,
he said the COs will tell.
I know they let that shit happen. That's a problem with the prison. We like, man, if you a conservative and you say if you pro-life, you need to be pro-life from the fucking cradle to the grave.
Yeah.
From my perspective. And you can't condone. But you know what? Fuck we talking about prison for? Shooting just happened. Shootings happening left and right with kids. They ain't giving a fuck enough to change anything about the political climate with guns to act like we even concerned with kids that got a future.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I'm sitting here talking about we need to start treating prisoners better. Hell, we need to start treating the damn kids better.
Very true.
I've been in a school where a shooting happened. It wasn't a mass shooting, but a student died. That shit is hard.
Yeah.
For them kids. And
there was two close in time at that school. Well, the second one wasn't at the school, but it was a student that went to the school.
And you know, there's a lot of people out here talking about these crisis actors, and I'm like, the crisis are not the crisis actors, but the conspiracy people that say crisis actors, and asking the school to provide proof of these people dying. Like, why don't y'all provide proof of these like crisis actors? You know what I'm saying? Like, how big is a conspiracy? How big is a conspiracy? How did the shooter know which school had crisis actors at it? Or is the shooter a part of the crisis actor stuff?
So, and
if so, then why would he sacrifice himself? What is the goal?
So I had a client who was like, he was very, I ended up having to refer him out. And I'll just say that he has a lot of stuff going on, but very paranoid. And so Sandy Hooks was one where there's a lot of people that believe that didn't happen and they were actors. He said that the purpose of that, the shooter, the police, the responders, everybody was in on it, and he said that it is to stir up controversy surrounding the gun argument. That people do this in order to get their point across as far as their side of the gun debate. That was what his belief was.
So we believe one side of the political scope has the clout to set up a school, actors to come to the school, which, mind you, it would be easily verifiable if like 20 people joined this school like in a month before, and they happen to be the ones that got shot or something like that. Police systems, and then they got to get a person that is willing to give up their life by going in and shooting these people. And somebody sets that up just so the possibility that their argument is heard more. This shit been going on since 1998. It ain't changed shit. This has been 20 years.
It has, but
it's been 20 years and stirring that up. Like, so, I mean, I just need...
It doesn't make sense, but you said you wanted to know what the purpose
yeah, that's the thing. Like,
that's what they believe the purpose is.
And that's my point.
Is.
Like, I don't have no problem listening to that dialogue, but I need more evidence. Like, what is the... what...
Well, he kept trying to get me to go to some website that like proves the tarps and some shit. He was. I didn't go look at it, to be honest, because I at that point, I just not need, just like, that other stuff he had said led me to know that. I be watching them videos,
and they have a whole bunch of dots that they connect, but they never connected from a starting point. They never have something that led them to believe that this is why this is. I think they have a general as the government trying to fuck us over, and so they be finding all these different ways to connect shit, but it's not a starting point. Like, you got to have a if then, like if you believe in science, you got to have a if then, you know, a hypothesis to determine whether if this shooting happened, then there must be some reason for this shooting to happen like that. It never starts from that. It's just, look at these people. Look at that thing. Look at the timing of this right here. Look at this person's history. The FBI knew about this person. They didn't stop him. Like, it start in the middle of the dots. You know, it don't start at the beginning and it ain't really no end. So I'll just be trying to understand.
Do that? Like, the other side could set up where guns saved a bunch of... Yeah, if that was the thing, if we're doing all of these things in the background...
That would be
like,
a better one. That would be, like, if because it sounds like only the left is doing that shit, if that's the case. Because the right could create a situation where, like, let's get a kid to run in with some blanks or his gun jam, and somebody come out with a gun in the school or
save
him. They could do that. Like, why would it only be one side doing this, and why would they be willing to sacrifice people to do it, and why would the people be willing to sacrifice themselves to do it?
Well, but so supposedly the people don't die. Like, they get shot with, like, movie theater, the same way people in movies get shot and it seems like they're dead. So nobody's actually dying in these scenarios, according to the conspiracy theorists. They don't die. They look dead, like in a movie, but they're not. And the shooters aren't actually sacrificing themselves either.
But where's the evidence to show that?
Oh, listen, I'm with you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, like, I'm just asking. I'm not asking you.
Oh, okay.
I'm asking, like,
I don't know.
That's just general. I'm generally interested in where that is. So, but talking about, so we're talking about guns. There's a girl from Kent State.
Fuck that bitch.
Who bought a AR-15?
It was
AR-10. Yeah, to school to not protest, but to support her right to defend herself. And she bought a gun to Kent State, which is where, you know, back in the 70s they had that riot and they killed, military killed a bunch of students. Not a bunch, like 4 students, I think. But they were shooting a bunch of them. They killed 4 because of a protest or a riot. Something was happening. And she bought her gun to the school, and she is upset because, what was she upset?
She's saying that people were calling her racist, or she said that people were saying racist things to her, saying that, white privilege is the only reason why she was allowed to carry the gun. Bitch, that's true. First of all, let me just say this. It's so many things wrong with this story. You are aware, just like the rest of us, about all of these shootings that are happening with AR style guns. You know how, like, nervous that makes people. You not giving a fuck about anybody else on this fucking campus decide to take a gun that is reminiscent of guns that have been used in mass shootings here recently, and you don't give a fuck enough about anybody else but yourself and your little protest or whatever the fuck it is you think that you're doing, that you're going to bring this and make everybody else uncomfortable. And if you don't think that you are allowed to walk your white ass around on that campus simply because you are white, because if my black ass went to any fucking campus with an AR anything, I can guarantee you that I would be tackled, hopefully not killed, but arrested and taken off the campus. So there's no way that Lillian Ann, or whatever the fuck her name is, does not believe or does not recognize that she was allowed to do this because she's a little white girl on the campus. Fuck you, Lillian. You full of shit.
Bruh, if white people really want to test the bounds of racism, they'll find the black people to do that with. It was a video that was going around of this very thing. They had a white guy with an AR, one of those assault rifles, walking down the street. Nothing happened. Went down over a block, had a black guy do the same fucking shit. Police were called. They stopped him. Like, it was a whole fucking thing. And I seen that video. But what I'm saying is, a white person need to do that walking next to a black person. Like, yeah, we ain't willing to take, because it's one or two things, like, black people don't get pulled up with white people. White people get pulled down with black people.
Yeah.
So if you are walking next to a black person and the police rush in, y'all both going to jail.
Yep.
And you're going to jail because of your connection to a black person and a system that looks at black people and says, you must be a threat. Oh, you don't got that gun because you want to defend your Second Amendment rights. You got that gun because you're about to do some crimes. But a white person who got a gun are defending their Second Amendment rights. And you know what? The crazy thing to me about it is, those white people are really defending the idea. Like, guns are a symbol. Guns are a symbol in America that you can have a certain amount of power that we will let you have. Guns, if the police want to fuck up your community, they will come fuck up your community. Guns ain't gonna protect you. People talking about we got guns to protect us from a tyrannical government. You ain't got no tank. You ain't got no rocket launcher.
You got no nuclear weapons. Like,
You don't have the things that they can use to destroy you if they want you destroyed. You don't got chemical weapons. That is a elementary ass argument from a tyrannical government. What? Bro, the government can shut your power off.
yeah.
And you can't see nothing in your house. And you can't feed yourself because your food done spoil.
Turn
If
your
the
water
government-
off.
So guns are a mere symbol. And you know what? A girl like this is ignorant enough to fall for what America will let you have. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not saying that guns are bad in that sense. I'm just saying guns don't protect you from shit government related.
Nope.
Guns protect you from somebody breaking in your house and your neighbor, but that is also going into the argument of why you don't need a gun that is of high capacity to stop that person. And the gun of high capacity that you have, if you believe will stop the government, won't stop that government. And there's a lot of solutions that we need as it pertains to guns. The problems with guns, as I continue to reiterate, but you know, I learn more things as these things continue to happen, unfortunately, is that it's going to take new politicians, because a lot of politicians are in the bed with the NRA, and ain't nothing gonna change as long as that's going on. We need to talk about how money is in politics the way that it is, because as long as the NRA is able to fund these politicians and fund these campaigns, it's gonna continue to be a situation. We need to talk about mental health. People always like to divert, on the right, always like to divert the mental health when it comes to the gun dialogue, but they have yet to put their foot in a plan that actually addresses mental health as it pertains to that thing. We got to talk about the school systems. This is a problem, but this ain't a problem in the black community. As much as people want to talk about the black community, now don't get me wrong, the black community is heavily under weaponized. The black community don't have a lot of guns, a lot of weapons, because the same processes by which white people get guns is harder for black people to get guns. If you live in a state where you can go to a pawn shop and have a gun by the time you walk out of there, it's going to be harder for a black man to do that versus a white man. You know what I'm saying? So we got a whole bunch of different issues to address. It ain't like the right say, well, it ain't got nothing to do with access to guns. It's just mental health. No, not necessarily. And it ain't just what the left say. It's just access to guns. It ain't, you know, they say it got something to do with mental health too, but like they want something to do with guns. But I tell you the reality, they don't want to take your guns away. Maybe it's some extreme people on the left who want to take guns away, but as a whole, the dialogue is about gun control, not gun removal. It's about looking at understanding what's going on with guns. The issue with Chicago is not that Chicago just run amok with guns. They got some of the harshest gun laws. The problem is the state next to them, Indiana, don't have no gun laws. So Chicagoans go right to Indiana, get all the guns they want, because there's not a universal regulation or acknowledgement or control of guns, and they bring them right back to Chicago. So it don't really matter how firm the rules in, just like parenting. It don't matter how firm mama rules is. If daddy let the kid get away with them rules every day, the kid ain't gonna give a fuck about them rules.
Have to be consistent.
You know what I'm saying? And we don't have a consistent system in America by which we know who got guns. Like, to me, I feel like we should be able to know who's amassing an arsenal.
Yeah.
And I think we need to have levels of what that means. I mean, I think you should probably register as a gun enthusiast and a connoisseur. That way, when those persons with that kind of acknowledgement amasses weapons, it makes sense, because they just really like guns and that's what they're going to do. And we need to know people who ain't connoisseurs, so when they start amassing weapons, oh shit, this might be a problem. You know what I'm saying? We need to be able to know if somebody over the course of their 30 years hadn't really fooled with guns and now they got 20 within a year. I mean, why can't we just know stuff like that? And the right will say, well, that's individual freedoms. Then why the fuck you support abortion? You
True.
support abortion because you believe it's about baby killing, but you conveniently don't look at it as being a right that's being taken away from a woman to choose. Like, the right is so gung-ho about freedoms when it's freedoms that they agree with. Mm-hmm. When it's freedoms that you don't agree with, you okay with them being taken away. And the left, I just don't even know how to define the left. I mean, the way that I get this dialogue is for the people that say the left or the right, they both bad. You know, the left ain't doing enough for black people. You know what I'm saying? If I was in quicksand, and I probably done said this on here before, but I will keep saying it. If I was in quicksand and my head is sticking out and my nose is just coming out of the quicksand and I'm about to die, I don't give a fuck what the intentions of the person that reach out to save me is. I don't give a damn if it's a Klansman that reach his damn hand out to pull me out the quicksand. If I get out, I don't care what his intentions are. And from a Democrat versus Republican perspective, I feel like the Democrats, whether their intentions are genuine or not, are sticking their hand out to pull me out of some quicksand, even if it's for their own personal fuck ass agenda to do so. And the Republican Party or the Democratic Party is being more and more and more infiltrated, if you want to say that from a government perspective, by black people. So it's coming to represent people that look like me more and more and more, as opposed to the Republican Party. So at some point, even if the intention ain't genuine now, when the Democratic Party start looking more and more and more and more black, it's going to start representing me more and more and more and more. Even if the original intention of the Democratic Party was still for some kind of leverage, you know, to get black people support. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm really over that dialogue, but didn't mean to get into politics like that. Went on a little rant, but
Fuck Lillian.
I'm done with the rant.
Fuck her. Only other thing I have is Tia from Tia Mowry. I forgot her Hardick. That's her last name. Had her baby recently and posted a picture of herself, and she looked like what you supposed to look like when you've just given birth. The only thing that I wanted to say about that is y'all got to stop letting these celebrities give you unrealistic expectations for your snapback game after you have a baby. You carried a whole nother person on the inside of you and liquid that kept them juicy for 9 months. Like, it's gonna take you a little bit of time, and that's okay. But I feel like these celebrities get surgeries or they do all of these extreme things so that they have a baby and the next week they look like they did before they had the baby. Women have enough unrealistic expectations to be out here trying to live up to. Can you please just let bitches have babies and be chubby for a little while? Like, good God. Like, I was so happy when I saw her make that post, because I was like, I wish more people would do this, because Kylie Jenner had that baby in the next week. And then here's the thing. Kylie Jenner did not actually look like that. There was Photoshop in her pictures. It just gives this unrealistic expectations, because I can guarantee you that if I have a baby with somebody and the next week they asking me when I'm going to drop this weight, that's going to be a punch to your fucking face. Don't be out here telling me what none of these other heifers did. Okay? I just popped this kid out. And I'm still up and down with him in the middle of the night and feeding him and shit. So you can get out my face talking about these 20 pounds that I need to lose. It's coming. But I just had the child last week. But kudos to her for giving people what it actually looks like when you've had a baby. You don't automatically lose all the weight the next week. That ain't how that shit work. It ain't even how your body meant to work. And that's okay. It's fine. Be chubby for a little while. You earned it. Shit. I can't even imagine carrying a whole person around for 9 months. And again, you can't, not only the baby, the jelly that they live in, and all of this
Baby
other
jelly.
shit. Like, give yourself some time. Shit. It's fine. Be chubby. Just be chubby for a little while. Now, on the flip side of that, don't be one of these people who never lose the baby weight and be mad at the baby. You could have lost this weight. Look what you did to me. No, look what you allowed to just sit and fester. Like, if you want to lose the weight, lose the weight. You can't sit around and think it's just going to fall off. It's going to take some effort on your part.
Talking about this baby weight. No, that's grown ass adult weight.
That kid is
On your
18
ass.
now. What are you talking about?
Shit.
Baby weight my ass.
blaming that junk on the baby.
Baby ain't had shit to do with it.
Nothing.
This nigga finna.
You had sex.
graduate.
You knew what was gonna happen when you had sex, or unless you didn't, which means that you had the wrong kind of sex, which is unprotected. Now, if you had protected sex and the condom broke, then you could have used the condoms with the spermicide in it. Could took a plan B. But I guess if you didn't expect for the condom breaking, and if you didn't know the condom broke, then. But you need to make better decisions anyway. You making poor decisions. It's a lot of instances in which, it could have happened by accident, but you know what? It still was a series of decisions that you made that would not. You shouldn't have made those. You should have made better decisions. So I can't really. You ain't off the hook.
No.
That ain't baby fat.
That's not
that
baby
is grown as your fat, and you need to do something about it if you want to.
And that's if you want to. And that's the thing. I had a friend that got on my fucking nerves because she had a baby and then just started making fat jokes about herself. Guess what? If you don't like it, lose it. You are literally doing nothing at all to lose this weight. So stop making these self-deprecating comments about yourself. Because if it truly bothers you, now if you're trying to lose weight and it's just, you ain't been able to do it, I can get how that would be frustrating. But if you sitting your ass on the couch watching USA day to day and not doing shit, and yeah, where the fuck you think it's gonna go besides where it's at? It's gonna sit there. The way you sitting your ass on that couch, that fat gonna sit his ass on your body.
Yep.
Stupid.
With your dumb ass. Let me see what else I got. It was one more thing. One more thing about the school shooting.
Ugh.
The boy said that he killed people he didn't like and spared people that he did like. The first person that he killed was a girl who had been turning down his
can't even be out here telling niggas no
invites
thank you
to go on a date, and she embarrassed him the week before somehow. But he is one of the first people that she she killed. So I'm saying that to say, for those of you raising boys, those of you who will have boys in the future, or those of you who was a boy that became a man on this bullshit, women don't owe you nothing.
Not a goddamn thing.
Now, I mean, clearly you're entitled to be as angry with a woman on that irrational basis as you would like, but a woman don't owe you anything.
Why I got to die though? Fuck. Like, and this, I'm gonna get on my soapbox for a second.
You don't need to be
this.
raising your kids to believe that a woman owes you something. You need to actually be vigilant in helping your child understand that a woman don't owe him shit. Because if you leave it up to society, if you leave it up to let your kid watch movies from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they going to pick up that men are superior. They going to pick up that misogyny. They going to pick that shit up because our society don't veer away at all from when men want to do shit. But it subdued the idea that a woman can do shit on her own and don't need to be defined by the man that she's standing next to rather than on her own.
It's such bullshit. Like, that everybody, like anybody I tell about the Jamaican that lives in my building, they're like, well, why don't you just tell him you're not interested? Wouldn't it be lovely if it was just that fucking simple? Wouldn't it be great if somebody told me that they were interested in me and I could just be like, well, I don't feel the same way, and we could go on about our lives and just live them? That would be amazing. And there are guys that will just take it and be like, okay, that's fine, and that'll be it. But you have niggas like the Jamaican who that is not acceptable. They are not going to fucking accept that. And that is such bullshit. It's such fucking bullshit that you can't just not. And I ain't even talking about these women who make a big scene and embarrass somebody. And you don't need to do all of that. But I should be able to take no thank you or I'm not interested. And you be able to accept that shit and walk the fuck away. But it's niggas that can't do that or that choose not to do that. And it is bullshit. I gotta die because I'm not interested in you? Really? I gotta die. So I gotta pay for your feelings of rejection with my life? That don't seem a little ridiculous? A little extreme?
You ain't gotta die. You just gotta carry the blockbuster with you.
Shouldn't have to do that either.
Start calling the pistol
Blockbuster.
blockbuster. pay homage to one of my favorite movie and video game spots of all time.
I
But
shouldn't have to carry guns around either. You should just be able to get out your fucking feelings and just accept that somebody just ain't interested in you. It happens.
you know,
Just niggas that ain't interested in me. You don't see me out here blowing people away because I gotta know, or I don't, or you didn't call me, or like the fuck. It happens. Everybody ain't gonna like you. Everybody don't have to like you. Every woman you go up to don't have to give you no play, my nigga. Like, that's not how that works. Move on. The fuck down. I hate that shit, man.
a woman who don't like or want to be with me is saving me because I'm amazing, and I don't want to give my talents to just anybody. Okay,
Gonna take your talents to another team.
I will in a second. I ain't got a contract. I can do what I want to do.
Free agent.
You know, like I'm a prize myself. I know the woman is the prize, and but as far as I'm concerned, like you are on thin ice with me if you're trying to treat me like shit. You know what I'm saying? So,
I just don't
but
understand.
every dude ain't like that. I don't know how. Man, it's such entitlement. That male entitlement.
And you have to be very careful, with your daughters. You have to explain to your daughters, like, this should be how it is, but sometimes it ain't. Like, you have to prepare your daughters to run into niggas like himself. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, I just don't understand. Like, you are not entitled to anybody's time. You're not at all. And if they not interested, okay. She not the last bitch on earth. Like, what is the problem? Relax. It's not that deep, bruh.
But
It's never that deep. You done took away this girl's whole future because she didn't want to go out with you. You done took away your whole goddamn future at this point because she didn't want to go out with you. Like, really? Was that worth it? Because guess what? You going to have plenty of dates now with Bubba and them. How about that? You going to like that? And they
You
ain't going
might.
to take no for an answer either.
you might like it. Maybe that's the reason he want to go to jail.
They not going to accept no neither, but they not going to shoot you. So,
They're not going to accept no for an answer, brother.
no. Same way that you couldn't accept no, you going to find out what the fuck it feel like to be on the other side of it. Good luck and Godspeed. Stupid.
Well, that's all I got.
All right.
You got anything else on your mind?
I do not.
All right. Well, until we come to the next conversation,
We out.
holla.